I will be honest. The day I realized my own sister hired someone to spy on me, I did not feel fear first. I felt insult, then rage, then something darker that I still cannot properly describe. But before I get to that, I need to start with the thing that pushed her into doing something so insane. Here's the hook. My sister, Haley, tried to prove that I was stealing money from our disabled mother. And instead, she exposed a six-figure fraud she had been running for years. If you want more true stories like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. My name is Melissa. I am 34. I work 2 jobs. And I am the one who took care of our mother after her stroke. I was the one who handled appointments, bills, medications, even bathing her sometimes, while Haley lived 3 states away in Los Angeles pretending she was too busy with her influencer lifestyle to fly home. But suddenly, 2 years into Mom's recovery, Haley called me crying. It was fake crying. I had known her long enough to tell the difference. She said she wanted to get more involved. She said she wanted to take responsibility. She said she missed Mom. That part was definitely a lie. At first, I wanted to believe her. I wanted to think something in her had changed. But I was stupid. I should have seen the signs. Every time she called Mom, she asked really weird questions. What did Melissa buy this week? Are you sure Melissa is not using your money? Why does Melissa handle all the bank statements? Mom would laugh it off because she trusted me. But I could see it. Haley wanted something. And it was not love. 2 months later, I got a notice from Mom's insurance provider saying someone had requested financial statements going back 5 years. I knew instantly it was her. She had always been obsessed with tracking every dollar anyone touched. She loved money more than relationships. I called her. Are you doing an audit of Mom's accounts? I asked. That was the nicest way I could phrase the question I really wanted to ask. Why are you trying to dig up dirt on me when I have been the one saving this family? She answered with her signature arrogance. I just want transparency. You know how it is. No apology. No explanation. No humanity. I said, if you wanted transparency, you could have asked. She replied, well, if there is nothing to hide, why do you sound nervous? That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not loudly, quietly. Quiet snaps hurt the most. I told her to fly in if she wanted to talk in person. She said she would think about it. She never did. A week later, things became strange. I noticed a car parked across the street that seemed to never move. A black sedan. Tinted windows. Every morning when I left for work, it was there. Every night when I returned, it was there again. At first, I assumed it belonged to a neighbor. But then one evening, when I left late to pick up Mom's medication, I saw someone sitting inside, a man. He lifted his phone like he was taking a picture. My stomach tightened. I walked toward the car. He immediately drove off, fast. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself it was stress. But the next day, when I took Mom to her physical therapy appointment, I heard a camera click. I looked behind me, and a woman with a baseball cap quickly turned away. That was the moment I knew. Haley did not just want information. She wanted dirt. She wanted proof I was some kind of criminal. She hired private investigators. I confronted her over the phone. Have you lost your mind? Why are people following me? I demanded. She acted confused. So convincingly confused that for a moment I doubted myself. But then she slipped. I just need to make sure Mom's money is handled correctly, she said. And you are too emotional to be objective. There it was. Her confession, covered in passive-aggressive sugar. I told her, you are sick. You need help. She laughed. I need help? Melissa, you have been living off Mom for years. We both know it. I felt like someone had slapped me. I paid half of Mom's bills myself. I handled everything while Haley was posing in designer, clothes she could not afford, tagging brands she hoped would notice her. But what she said next was worse. I talked to an attorney, she said almost proudly. We are reviewing everything. If we find misuse of funds, there will be consequences. She said consequences like she wanted to taste the word. I said, you think I stole from Mom? She said, well, you definitely did not earn enough to buy the new car. My voice cracked. I used my savings, Haley. She sighed dramatically. Sure, if you say so. At that moment, I realized she had already convinced herself that I was guilty. Or maybe she needed me to be guilty for something else she had done. I would not understand that part until much later. The next 2 weeks were terrible. Everywhere I went, I felt watched. I felt judged. I felt followed. Even at work, I kept seeing the same man near the elevator. I tried to tell myself I was imagining things, but I knew I was not. Private investigators do not care about your dignity. They care about evidence, or anything that looks like evidence. My breaking point came when one of them approached Mom at the pharmacy and started asking questions about her finances. Mom called me, shaken. Melissa, why are people asking about my bank account? I pulled the car over and felt tears burn down my face. She was crossing a line. A big one. I drove straight to Mom. That night, I made a decision. I would gather every document, every receipt, every statement, and I would confront Haley. I would force the truth in front of her face. And I would do it on camera so she could not twist my words like she always did. But then something happened that I did not expect. Something that changed everything. While gathering documents in Mom's old filing boxes, I found a folder I had never seen before. It was labeled Haley Loans. I opened it. Inside were checks, wires, letters, totals, all showing money. Mom had sent Haley during the last 10 years. Money Mom had never told me about. The total was over $200,000. My hands shook so hard I dropped the folder. Mom's signature was on every document. Haley had taken money again and again, pretending it was for school, then for business investments, then for emergencies. But the worst part? Several transfers were made from Mom's medical fund. That account was legally protected. Touching it was fraud. I stared at the documents, stunned. Then I heard Mom say quietly from behind me, "Please do not be angry at her. She needed help." My heart almost broke in half. I crouched down and whispered, "Mom, she stole from you. She stole from the medical account. That is a crime." Mom looked exhausted. She promised she would pay it back. She said you would judge her. For a few seconds, I could not breathe. She had manipulated Mom emotionally and financially, and now she was trying to destroy me to hide her own crimes. That was the moment I knew I needed proof. Real proof. Not just documents. Evidence no one could deny. Before I could say anything else, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "Your sister says you are hiding something. Meet me if you want the truth." Then an address. A cafe downtown. And a time. 2 hours from now. My heart pounded. I showed the message to Mom. She frowned. "Do not go." I said, "It could be someone she hired. Or someone who knows what she is doing." Mom shook her head. "It could be dangerous." I said, "It is already dangerous." I drove there alone. When I arrived, the cafe was half empty. In the back corner, a man raised his hand slightly. He looked nervous. Maybe 40, jeans, a jacket. Nothing special. I sat across from him. "Who are you?" I asked. He glanced around. Then he said the last sentence I expected to hear. "I am one of the investigators your sister hired. And you need to know what she is really planning." My chest tightened. "Planning what?" I asked. He leaned forward. "She is not trying to prove you stole anything. She is trying to frame you." My blood ran cold. And then he pulled out a flash drive and slid it toward me. "You need to see this," he said, "before she destroys your life." When my lawyer closed the folder and looked at me, I felt my stomach twist like a fist. He said, "Avery, your sister might have just exposed something she did not want anyone to ever see." I remember sitting there frozen. My palms were sweating. My throat felt tight. I whispered, "What did she do?" He slid the papers toward me slowly. "This is not about you anymore. This is about her." I felt a cold wave wash over me. I had walked into that office scared she would ruin my life. And now suddenly, the ground had shifted. I asked him again, "What did she do?" He tapped one page. "Your sister submitted financial documents to the court. She attached tax filings, bank statements, and affidavits claiming she paid for your mother's care alone." I felt a little jolt. That was a lie. I had paid for almost everything. He turned another page. "But Avery, the numbers are fake?" I stared at him, not understanding. He continued, "Not exaggerated. Not stretched, fake, altered entries. False deductions. Fabricated transactions." I felt my heart slam in my chest. My sister had hired private investigators to prove I lied. And in the process, she had accidentally handed over evidence of her own fraud. My voice came out shaky. "What happens now?" He leaned back. "If the judge sees this, she could be charged. This is not small. This is federal-level fraud. There is falsified tax documentation here." My legs went numb. My sister wanted to destroy me so badly that she did not even notice. She was burning herself in the process. I said softly, I do not want to send her to jail. My lawyer looked at me almost gently. Avery, she is the one who chose this path. You have just been defending yourself. I felt something crack inside me. This was my sister, the girl I used to share a room with, the girl I defended from bullies, the girl who cried on my shoulder when she failed her driving test. How did we get here? And then I remembered the day she screamed in my face, telling me I stole Mom's money and calling me a pathetic overachiever who thinks she deserves everything. The pain came back sharp. Maybe she had already chosen who she wanted to be. My lawyer said, the investigators she hired? They talked. They dug into everything. They pulled records she never expected anyone to look at. He showed me more pages. My sister had been funneling money from one of my mother's old business accounts into her own secretly, thousands of dollars every month. I felt a sting in my eyes. So while she was accusing me, she was the one taking money? He nodded. And she hid it by filing altered statements. I covered my face with my hands. This was the mid-twist I never wanted. I whispered, what do I do? He answered calmly, we can go to the judge. Or he paused. You can talk to her first. My breath hitched. A part of me wanted to run. Another part wanted to scream. But the biggest part of me wanted answers. So I decided, I will talk to her. Later that evening, I drove to her house. My hands were shaking the whole ride. I kept replaying memories in my head. Christmas mornings, late-night talks, the two of us sneaking snacks when Mom was asleep. How did we end up as enemies? When I reached her driveway, I saw her pacing inside on the phone, probably bragging to someone about the private investigators she hired. When she opened the door, she rolled her eyes. Oh, the liar herself. I swallowed hard. Claire, we need to talk. She smirked. Unless you are ready to admit you are hiding money and scamming the family, I have nothing to say. I held the folder my lawyer gave me. This is not about me. It is about you. She scoffed. Please! You think I am scared of whatever you printed? I whispered. The investigators dug into everything. Her face twitched just a little. I continued. Claire, they pulled bank statements. Tax filings, transfers, all of it. She froze. Just for a second. Then she forced a laugh. So what? Are you going to pretend you found something on me? I opened the folder and placed the documents on her kitchen counter. I do not have to pretend. She flipped through the pages quickly, her breath getting louder and louder. Then she slammed the papers down. This is illegal, she shouted. They cannot do that. I looked at her quietly. You hired them. Her face drained. She stumbled back a step, whispering, No. No, no, no. I felt a painful lump in my throat. Why did you do it, Claire? Why did you take money from Mom's account? Why did you alter tax documents? Why did you try to ruin my life when you knew what you had done? She covered her mouth with her hand. For the first time, she looked scared. Then her voice cracked. Because I needed it. I stood there in shock. She continued, You were always the successful one. The one with degrees, the one with the good job, the one Mom bragged about. I was drowning. I had debt. I had bills. I had nothing. And then Mom died. And everything felt even more unfair. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I told myself I deserved a little more because I had less. I told myself it was balancing things out. Her voice broke. And then when you bought that place in Tribeca? God, Avery, it felt like you were leaving me behind forever. I almost broke right there. This was not jealousy. This was fear. Fear of being left behind. Fear of feeling worthless. But what she did still mattered. I said softly, Claire, you could have asked me for help. She sobbed. I did not want to need you. I wanted to beat you. That sentence stabbed me deeper than anything else. I whispered, we have to go to the judge. She looked like she might collapse. Please, Avery, I will lose everything. My job, my marriage, my house, I will go to jail. I closed my eyes. This was the final twist moment. The moment that would define both of our lives. She shook my arm. Please, you have to save me. I am your sister. I looked at her, broken, terrified, guilty, and I felt something inside me harden. I said, I will not save you, but I will give you a choice. She stared at me like she was drowning. I continued. Option 1, we hand everything to the judge. You face the consequences publicly. She swallowed hard. Option 2, you sign a full confession. You withdraw every accusation against me. You return every dollar you took. You give up any claim to mom's estate. And you enter financial counseling, mandatory, documented. She was shaking. You want to erase me? I shook my head. No, you were erasing yourself. I'm giving you a way to stop. Her shoulders collapsed. And if I refuse? I whispered, then court takes everything. She cried for almost a full minute. Then she reached for the pen. Her hands were trembling violently. She signed every page, every confession, every admission, every surrender. When she was done, she whispered, "Do you hate me?" The truth hit me like a punch. I hate what you did, but I still want you to get better. She broke into sobs again, but for the first time they sounded real. That night was the end of our war, and the start of her rebuilding process. And my revenge was not about destroying her. It was about forcing her to face herself. In the end, the judge accepted the signed confession. The case was dismissed. I kept my mother's estate, my home, my peace. Claire spent the next year repaying the money and attending mandatory counseling. She hated me for months, then slowly started thanking me. Sometimes justice does not look like punishment. Sometimes it looks like accountability. And the emotional truth? You cannot save a person from the hole they are digging, no matter how much you love them. But you can give them a ladder. What they do with it is on them.